Hello, thank you for joining us. How do you prefer to define public history?
Public history, I think it's a sort of self-awareness. Of course, there is an institutional, organized practice, like in the United States or in Europe, where you can get the diploma of being public historian. But in my case, I would rather say that this is sort of self-aware, conscious practice, which combines together some expertise and community. And the idea is, I think my personal statement here is that the major idea is in bridging and linking different sides. So it's the major.
It's about linking different fields within history?
No, linking different fields within history with people.
Okay.
So it's, I think public history is about the audience, and there are multiple genres that you can employ. You can write popular books, and this would be also kind of like Neil Ferguson. He's not in academia writing popular books. He's a kind of public historian, but he can deliver intellectual speeches. And I, for example, work more in the lowbrow level, working with children and different people whom a lot of intellectuals just don't see.
Oh, okay. Neil Ferguson isn't that like that. But what's your favourite example of public history then? If you had to choose one?
You mean the genre or the case?
You know what, let's go for genre for now.
Genre. I like very much games, applications, iPad stories.
Assassin's Creed?
I have, yeah, why not? I have 2 boys, so I have to tackle this issue every second day.
Yeah.
How to negotiate studying and gaming, enjoying. So, for example, when we went recently in Firenze to museum, Palazzo Strozzi Museum, to see exhibition on cubism, and you know, when you have small children, it's difficult to explain them all these tough issues about representation, reality, cubism, and this is a kind of public history. So I had to put down some highbrow theories for my children, and I like to see how people do this in applications, in web applications or game applications. So I think it's at least for my children's generation will be next 10 years the reality.
What's the biggest change you've seen in public history in the last 10 years?
Usually public history is connected to technology development, but of course public history is about narrating, and there are different ways of making your narrative. So of course, for example, when I do exhibition on sexuality, I do narrate in a different way, and of course you have to employ a lot of images, but then to balance what kind of images you want to have on this exhibition. And then when you make a book or public talk, it's a bit different, like genre. But I think every time the technology make new shift, something happens also in public history. So let's say before paper was introduced in Europe, the public historians, as we may say, were probably monks talking and preaching to people, and then they learned to write, and later on they learned to tape, and then they learned to perform, present. Now we have PowerPoints, digital devices, and it changes very rapidly. I remember when I was a small boy, I couldn't believe that you can put video files into the CD object. It was impossible. I thought this only can be put on tape. So my personal view is that media changes, narration changes, and we always need to go in the same, we need to follow development. You cannot just stay and say that exhibitions are only possibility. You have to go into digital realm. You work with programming, with different activists. You have to learn new things, which is not usually pleasant. People they prefer to stay in one settled position.
And what have you found most interesting about this conference?
I found people who think as I believe, I think. That's the major pleasure that I have, because when I'm studying here history again, even though I'm a bit overaged for studying. I did a lot of public history before. I studied in different schools, but then I realized that I do prefer reading and going to archives, but I also do prefer going to communities and talking to people. And at a certain point, I even didn't know how to call this situation, but here I realized that every second person who is practicing the same thing, they say, I was practicing public history not knowing that I'm practicing public history. So I found that we are kind of Dominicans or some kind of religious group within the big commune of church. So it's a sort of practitioners which have this conscious decision to work with community, and of course you can train people to do this, but very often it's a personal choice. So when you meet such people somewhere, you're very happy.
Excellent. Well, I'm not sure you're ever too old to study, but thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.